Hey guys, welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Don here. I was going to try to not record anything in the rain, but it's never stopped raining here in Massachusetts in about 2 weeks. So sorry about that, little raindrops here. But we're tonight is the night for our webinar. So I wanted to kind of walk you guys through how things are going with that. We are doing a webinar on neuromas. We've done multiple other ones. We were doing them more frequently, but then we all kind of got burnt out of doing the webinars. We try to do them every, 2 or 3 months. So we sent this one out. We sent it to all of our list for our patients, which is about 30,000 patients that we have in our medical record. And we sent it via text message, via email, and I think I've talked to you guys about that before, and it sends them to a Calendly link, and then they can register. So currently, we have, I think, 50 people that are registered. I don't know if how many of them will come tonight, but I'll tell you. We're going to do it from 6 to 7, so we're basically, that's the way we did it. And the way we set up the webinar is with this Calendly. It actually links right to Zoom, so we all log into the Zoom, and we participate and we record it. And with this webinar, we had a chance to answer some questions, and so there were about maybe 5 questions, and I'll put those at the end. And the kind of the method, what we did is we sent out. I just sent out to the other 3 doctors a Google Slides, which is basically like PowerPoint, and they just put in their slides, their pictures. And I find it doesn't really need to be too polished. I think patients they like it more like sincere. So if you look at the slides, some are kind of really simple, some images, things like that, and then we just chat. And so we give each doctor an opportunity to talk about the surgical, the non-surgical, the different treatment options, the imaging, the shoes, and stuff like that of Neuroma. So I'll let you guys know how it goes tonight. We're doing that later on tonight. So we're just finishing up our slides, and we'll see. And then what we do, the key isn't so much the webinar. I just want to explain this. So the webinar gets people kind of into the office, but then what we do is we send out the recording of the webinar afterwards in a blog post. We send a link to that blog post for patients. And then what we can do is we can use that webinar on something called Patient Education Genius. So basically, let's say someone comes in and they have a neuroma. I can send them, hey, we did this webinar on neuromas, can I send this to you? Or I'll send them the link to that page on our blog. So kind of repurposing the content is key. I'm going to try something new today, which is kind of one of these high-tech things. So if you guys are like high-tech, you like this stuff. When I record on Zoom, I'm going to record it on the cloud. And I have my cloud account linked to otter.io. And what otter.io is a transcription service, what transcribes it for free. So what you do is you link your Zoom account to Otter, which is free. This is the only way to do it free. Other things you have to kind of pay for, unless you just talk. But so it'll transcribe it. So what I'm going to try to do now is take that transcription with the slides and kind of put it into like a Google Doc or a Word doc, and then you can transfer it into that Designer. I think I've told you guys about Designer before. Designer. I think there's 2 R's in it. Designer.io, and then you can make like an ebook out of it. So another way of changing this is making like a lead magnet. Basically, hey, get the how to treat your neuromas, and they have a written with some pictures, and then you can include the video in there if you want to. So it has everything together. It's simplifying to produce content, and the more you can produce content from one event, the better. So you can divide that transcript into multiple little blog posts. Like there's a lot of different ways of doing it, really kind of simplifying. It's getting to be a lot easier. So that's one thing I want to talk about. The last thing I want to talk about is I had a great talk with Daniel Hall, and we were chatting a little bit after, so if you listened to the interview, you didn't hear this, but we were talking about, maybe it wasn't the interview, but we were talking about wounds, and I think that's what we're going to talk about next time. But one thing I think we all do is a simple flexor tenotomy, right? For the toes, we cut the tendon, straighten out these flexible hammer toes if it's not rigid. But one thing I didn't realize, because I was having some problems, and I just want to share this in passing with those that might help you. I've been trying a couple of these plantar fascial releases. I know some may love these, some may hate these, but I have some of these IPJ ulcers that the darn things just don't heal, and And you try offloading them, you try orthotics, you try debriding them, you try fish skin, you try whatever, and the darn thing, because it's mechanics, right? And these people they're kind of train wrecks, and you don't want to do a big surgical case on them. And so I've been trying these the plantar fascial releases, and my whole problem is the darn incision. It dehisces. The incision opens up, and I'm like, gosh, these are horrible. They give me I get stressed out because I don't know why, because they should just heal up fine. Maybe it's because they're diabetic patients, maybe because they're walking too much on it. Anyway, so I was talking to Daniel, and he gave me this idea. He said, Don, why don't you just use the same 18 gauge needle you used to cut the tendons? I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. Maybe you guys all that are listening to, you knew about this, but what I normally do is I take an 18 gauge needle when I cut the flexor tendon. So you do the same thing for this selective plantar fascial release. You dorsiflex the toe, whatever the one you're going to try to offload. Usually it's the big toe, and you find where it bows a little bit in the midfoot region, and you kind of make a little incision. And you just take. He says it takes about 3 18 gauge needles, kind of going back and forth. So that's just my other kind of a tip. I know we don't talk too much about these surgical things here, mostly practice management, but this is something that was kind of neat, and I was like, wow, that would be a really good idea. So I might try it, and hopefully I'll have less dehiscence, because it really does help heal up the ulcers, but I just didn't like the dehiscence that happened to me when I did it. Okay, guys, have a good day. I'll let you know about the Neuroma webinar later on. Okay, bye.